To play our first drum groove, we don't really need a huge drum kit, but we do need these three basic parts. We've got a bass drum down here. We've got the snare drum, which is this guy here. And we've got our hi-hats, which are two cymbals over here. Hi-hats, there's a pedal. You're gonna notice when you lift your foot up and down, the hi-hats are gonna come away from each other. Well, for everything we're doing today, all you've got to do is put the weight of your foot on there and press that down. Bass drum. There's two techniques, which I'll come to in a minute. All I want you to worry about at the moment is just whacking your foot down and making noise any way you can. To learn this then, we're gonna, first of all, hit our hi-hat here and our bass drum at the same time. You're gonna feel a bit stupid doing this, but I need you to count literally the word one out loud when you do it. So you're literally just gonna go 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's try doing that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit the hi-hat again, but this time you're going to hit the snare drum at the same time, but you're going to say 2, 2, 2, 2. Now when we play on drums, we play uncrossed some of the time, when we play crossed over some of the time. Well, in this case, all we're doing is we're crossing our hands. Now what you want to try and do is not hit your sticks together, so both hands are going to lift together and hit both of those instruments. So let's try that. Let's try a few ones. 1, 1, 1. A few twos. 2, 2, 2. Now our first drum groove is real simple. It goes 1, 2, 1, 2, and that is it. So we're going to get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You just need to do lots and lots of those now and get comfortable with it. Let's have a go. As you start to get comfortable with that groove, you can then start to think about the variables we spoke about over on that practice pad. Are you pressing downwards and getting this noise? Because we don't want that, we want the rebound. Bass drum, are you doing what we call burying the beater, which means the beater when it hits the drum is staying in there like this? Or are you purposely bouncing the beater off? It doesn't really matter which you choose, as long as you're making a conscious decision to choose one or the other. And then when you're hitting your instruments, so when you're hitting this guy and the bass drum at the same time, are they hitting exactly together, or are they getting a bit of a bada kind of noise? So this is together, this is bass drum bit before, and this is the hi-hat bit before. Same with these two, are they hitting perfectly together? So the final stage of learning this, your first groove, is to work on playing it faster. Now in sport, for instance, it's good to be really fast and bad to be really slow. Music's a lot different to that. In music, we have really fast songs, so punk music and things like that, and we have slow songs, ballads, and they're both as important as each other. So you've got to learn to be able to play at fast tempos, quick tempos, and at slow tempos. So I'll show you that now. So this is slow. This is what we might class as, say, medium. And this would probably be classed as fast. Now the great thing about drum grooves is whatever groove you learn over here on the hi-hats, you can play exactly the same thing by moving your right hand to one of the other cymbals. Now on this drum kit, I've got a ride cymbal here as well. So all the beats that I played here, I'm now going to play there. So now it's going to be, instead of the ones being a hi-hat with a bass drum, it's going to be the ride cymbal with a bass drum. So I'm going to go 1, 1, 1, 1. And then the twos will be these two. 2, 2, 2. Now with the ride cymbal, we're looking at hitting it, not up here on what we call the bell, not on the edge, but kind of halfway down here. And I'm not trying to hit it with the shoulder of the stick, I'm trying to hit it with the bead. So I want this ting, ting, ting sound. But I'm still going to play it with a little bit of rebound, so it's going to look like this. Have a go. That right there is what we're going to call your first quarter note groove. Practice it, and next up we'll look at some fills. So what are fills? As a drummer, you're going to find that often you're going to be playing a groove, like the quarter note one we just learnt, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, for most of the song. But every now and then, you're going to see drummers suddenly doing something else. Now that something else we call a fill-in. So we're playing normal, 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 or there's something different. Well, that one's called a fill-in. Well, the word fill-in has been shortened over the years to just be called fill. And fills are often, for drummers, the fun part. It's when we get to come off of the hi-hat and keeping time for everyone, maybe use the toms, maybe play a more interesting groove, maybe even hit the crash cymbals. So let's jump back on the drums, and I'm going to teach you an 8th note fill. Ready for our fill, I've added a tom to this drum kit. On this drum kit, we've got 2 toms. I've got a high tom and a low tom. Your drum kits, you may have another tom here, you may have 25 toms, all right, it doesn't matter. We're going to learn it today with a minimum amount of 2 toms. Sometimes this guy up here is called a rack tom, sometimes it's actually held on a rack, and sometimes this guy down here is called a floor tom. So I may call it a floor tom, I may call it tom 1 or tom 2. We're going to do an 8th note fill. When we're playing quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, like the beat we just learnt a moment ago, this guy here, we're just feeling the pulse of those 4 notes. With 8th notes, we're going to put another pulse in between each of those. So if the pulse is my bass drum there, 3, 4, we're actually going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're actually going to say and in between each one. Because we're playing a bar of 4, we're going to say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And this fill is really easy, right? We're going right, left on the snare drum. We're going right, left on tom 1. We're going right, left back on the snare drum again. And then we're going right, left on our floor tom over here. So it's going to sound like this. We need to relate the speed of the fill to the groove. So our groove was going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I play it in context. Once you've got that down, what I want you to do is I want you to spend a few minutes trying to play exactly the same thing, but maybe hitting some other toms. Maybe instead of starting on the snare, I start here and I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Maybe I want to play all of them on one drum. There's no rules, right? When we're not playing a pitched instrument in the same way as a guitar or a bass guitar or a trumpet has to be hitting perfect notes. What we've got to do is we've got to fill the right amount of notes in the right amount of time. The next stage for you then is to, instead of playing 1 bar of these, now we're going to start talking about some technical stuff here like bars and time signatures. Well, every bar of music that we're doing at the moment consists of 4 pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I'm playing this, and we're kind of cheating a little, we're going 1, 2, 1, 2. I want you to now change and start counting 1, 2, and then 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That way then, every time we say 1, we know we've done a whole bar of music. I want you to play 3 bars of groove, that's the hi-hat part, with the 1 bar of fill at the end. So I'll play it quietly so you can hear me shouting. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Second one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third one, 1, 2, 3. And I do a fill, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I go back to the start. Now in songs, fills can be put anywhere you feel like putting them, but most often it's a way of showing the audience, the people listening, that we're going to go from one section to another section. So the final stage for you guys is to try playing your groove over here 3 times, then do your fill, and then play your groove over here 3 times, and then do your fill. Then we're starting to play in the same way as you're going to do when you start playing on with songs real soon. I'll demonstrate for you. And that's your first quarter note groove with eighth note fill.